Sorry.
Okay, is there any problem with the site, sir, Manasa?
Manasa, okay. Yeah, hi guys, good morning. And this will be our Linux 02 session. Okay. So, Swati, check for the connectivity of Manasa. Once done, then we can start this.
Yeah, and Sheetal also facing the issue for the connectivity.
But actually, she went outside.
Okay.
Sir, excuse me, Saber.
Yes,
So
Shavan.
Sheetal is facing some issue with her laptop. It's getting stuck. So she is requesting you to wait for 2 more minutes as she will restart it again.
Okay, okay.
Thank you.
We'll wait for a couple of minutes and then we can start. Okay. Try to access Slack in your mobile phones. Okay. The moment you log in, try to post the login time. You're not supposed to post the login time at 11:13 or 11:10, right? So the moment you log into the institute, then post your login time with the help of mobile phones. At least install Slack in your mobiles. Okay. Guys, done?
Saber, you can start. She is done before.
Okay.
Sheetal.
Okay. So in today's session, we'll talk about some leftover Linux commands. Okay. Someone can So this is our virtual machine. So let me log in. Okay. And we have our terminal, right? So yesterday what we have did, we have created some files, some directories, we have deleted them, we have renamed them, we have copied them. Okay, and how to check the list of files which are available, right? So how to check the list of files? By using ls command. Okay, how to change the directory? By using cd command. Okay, so now how to create certain files and directories? By using mkdir and then directory name. Okay, what this will do? This will help us to create the directory called test. How to create one file with 0 as the size? By using touch command. Touch techie. Right. So how to check the list of files? LL. I mean to get the complete list with the timestamp as well as permissions as well as the user. Okay. Now if I do ls, sorry, I'll do ls. Here we can see two different files. One is techie, one is test. So can you guys identify which is directory and which is file? if I'll execute ls, how will I know that techie is a directory or file, or how will I know that test is a directory? How to identify that?
Using with command long listing, LL.
Okay. When we do LL, so here we can see the complete list of files which are available, right? But out of this, how will you identify which is file and which is directory? For example, as of now,
/ shows the directory.
no, yeah, forward slash
Sir,
is a
before the
directory,
permissions,
yeah,
before the permissions, we have D. D means directory. Hyphen means file.
Yes, right. So the reason why we were aware that this is a file and directory, because just now I have created this. For example, you have logged into this machine after 6 months. Then how will you identify? Not with the help of colors, right? So these colors may be available in some machines and it will be complete black and white screen in some machines. Then we cannot identify them. So the only way to identify is to check the permissions of this file. Okay, here if you'll see, okay, here if you'll see, let me just copy this. Here if I'll open one notepad, okay, here if you'll see this, this is what we can see in the beginning of our file. Okay, so for any file or any directory, for any file or any directory, if you can see as D in the initial, it means that it is a directory. Okay, so anything which represents as D in the initial of the permissions, it represents as directory. D means directory. If it is hyphen, then it means it is a file. That is how we can identify whether this is a directory or a file. Understood? Similarly, if I'll check my git bash data and if I'll do ll, here we can see this is a directory and others are nothing but our files. So let me just try to copy this. Okay, so first one represents directory. Okay, and then what is this RWX, R-X, R-X? What is this?
Read,
Permissions.
write, execution.
R equal to read, W equal to write, X equal to execute permissions or execution, execute or execution. Okay, so read will always represents, R will always represents read, W will represents write, and X represents execute permissions. Right, means instead of hyphen, what we can assume? We can assume as W. This is how it can look. Okay, so here we have three different types. I mean RWX, RWS, RWS. 3 times we can see this. So what is this now? Okay, R means read, W means write, X means execute. But why 3 times? Because the first read, write, execute permissions represents owner. Means the one who has created the file. Here if you see this, here we can see as software, because this is my username. I have created this file. Okay, so I have the complete permissions, read and write and execute permissions for this particular directory. Okay, and then we have another 3. This is for groups. And then we have another 3. This is for other users. Means if some other user is trying to access your file, So what kind of permissions you should assign to them, whether he can read my file, whether he can edit my file, or whether he can execute my file. So we can segregate different accesses for each file and each directory with the help of read, write, and execute permissions. Okay, guys, clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Clear.
Okay, and also remember, read will always represent the numeric value as 4, write will always represent the numeric value as 2, and execute will always, this will be the numeric value 1. Okay, read is for 4, write is for 2, and execute is for 1. Now I want to change the permission. Means here if you see this rw-, in place of hyphen means no execute permission. So if you see this file has the read permission and write permission to the owner. There is no execute permission. That's the reason it is as hyphen, means blank. And it has read permission and write permission to the groups and no execute permission. And then read permission is available for the other user. There is no write and execute permissions, means other user cannot modify or execute this particular file. Similar to this in Windows, what we do, we create different guest users, right? So which user, that guest user will not be able to access our file, right? So we can control the access, because whenever we are working on any project or any server, as we have discussed initially, Linux will support multi-user logging. So there might be some files which I don't want to be accessible, that file should not be, there should be no access to other users. I don't want others to access my file. In that case, I can control my access with the help of read, write, and execute permissions. But now, how should we change the permissions? For example, I want to provide full access. I want to provide read, write, execute permissions for owner, read, write, execute permissions for group, read, write, execute permissions for other users as well. Then how can I change the permissions? For that, we have one command called chmod, means ch modification, change modifications. Chmod and then 777. 777 means, now you can try to map with this. 7 means, if you count this number, 4 plus 2 6, 6 plus 1 7, means first 7 will represent full permission to the owner, second 7 will represent full permission to groups, third 7 will represent full permission to other users. Okay, so I can decide what permissions we can provide with the help of that numeric values. If you want to provide only read and write read and execute permissions, then what number I can use? I can use as 5. 4 plus 1 5. If you want to provide only read and execute permission, then I can use the number as 5 instead of 7. Okay, so let me just try to make full permissions, chmod 777, and then file name. What is my file name? Tiki. If it is a directory, then we can use directory name. Okay, so anything is okay. Whether you want to change it to a file or directory, the command is same, and hit enter. Now if I do ll, we can see read, write, execute, read, write, execute, read, write, execute. This is how we can modify the access or permissions. If suppose, now let me help out with these permissions, guys. Okay, user should have read access, group should have read, write, and execute access, and others should have execute access. What should be the permissions? Yeah, calculate this and help me out with the numeric value. What should be the numeric value?
471.
4,
Yes, mod
471.
471.
471 is one option what we have got. Others, everyone. Sorry,
461.
461. Others?
471.
471. Okay, already we have written that. Follow? 461 ఎట్లయితది? Okay.
Read and write only. Okay.
Read, write, and execute access.
Okay, sir. 7.
Okay. So read access means 4, read, write, execute means 7, and then execute access means 1. Okay. So this is how we can calculate this. Okay. So if I'll execute chmod 471 and then file name key, and if I'll do ll, then we can see only read access to the owner, full permissions to the groups, and only execute permissions to the other users. Hope this is clear, guys. This is very important. This will be
Yes,
asked
sir.
in interviews, how to assign permissions. What is
Yes,
chmod?
sir.
Others, guys, everyone please respond.
Yes.
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 Okay, so now what we have did, we have discussed about these permissions. Okay, now what is this all about? ls-ltrh rs ls-ll. So see, similar commands, ll is also working, ls-ltrh is also working, ls-ll is also working. So we have lot of parameters. We can use any command. There is no change. All the commands will help us with the similar output. Okay. So now if you'll see this part, this is nothing but the owner of this file. So first name will represent the owner and second name will represent the group, means to which particular group this user has been added. Now my question is, how to check the list of users available in this particular machine? How should I check that? I am not aware of that users. Even you are not aware of your users in the virtual box, right? So how to check the list of users which are available? For that we can use cat etc passwd, means there is one directory called etc and there is one file called passwd. In this particular file you will get the complete details of the list of users available on this virtual machine. On any server, if you want to check the list of users, then we can use cat etc passwd. Why do we use cat command? Cat command is used to read the content of the file. So I'm just trying to read the content of which file? Passwd. Where is this file available? Inside etc. Okay, and if I'll hit enter, we can see these are the list of users which have been available in my virtual machine. So this is one root user. This is very common. I mean, for every machine there will be one root user and other users. Here you can see something called daemon, bin, sync, games. Okay, we have n number of users. So these users are the default users. And here if you see this, you can see something called no login, means we cannot log in with the help of these users because these are system generated when we have configured our operating system, right? So these have been generated in the background to perform the operating system functionalities. So you cannot log in with the help of that users. Okay, so how to check the list of users available in the virtual box? By using etc passwd. So this is something what I am looking for, root, and then this is my users are there, and this is nothing but group id. Okay, and this is group name, and this is the home directory, and this is the shell what I'm using. So how to check the shell? Yesterday we have discussed this echo $0, and you can see this bash. Okay, so how many users are there? Saber and root. These two users is what I am looking for. Now I want to change the user. I want to change the owner of this particular file. I don't want Saber to be the owner. I want root to be the owner, because we have only two users from what we can log in, right? So how to change the permission? So I can use the command called chown, means change ownership. and then to which user you want to change. Root. What should be the group? Group name will also be root. And then what should be the file? Techie. Hit enter. Changing ownership of techie operation not permitted. Okay, let me add. So what will happen is sometimes I will explain about the sudo. So for now, let me use sudo and hit enter. If I do ll, now you can see the owner has been changed to root. Okay, the owner of this particular file techie has been changed to root. So the moment I have executed ch on root techie, here we can see some error called operation not permitted. Why? And then I have added sudo and it was asking for the password and it has executed. So why it is not allowing me to execute some commands? And who is this root user? What is the use of root user? So just check out this. Okay, so apt install git. For example, I'm trying to install one software called git in my virtual machine. See what is happening. Could not open lock file var lib dpkg something xyz and unable to acquire the front end log. Are you root? It is asking whether I'm a root user or not. So what we have seen previously that we have one user called root in our machine. So how to switch to that user? Here if you see my username is Saber. Even if you want to check uname is one command. With the help of this command we can check the this is operating system ID. Yeah, so with the help of ID command we can check which user we are currently logged into. Here you can see this is the ID number, I mean the group IDs. Okay, and this is the username. Now I want to switch to root user. I want to change the user. I don't want to use the user called Saber. I want to execute my commands from root user. So how to change that? We can use a command called su user. And to which user you want to change root? Hit enter. It is asking for password. Okay, authentication failed. Okay, let me do one thing. Sudo su hyphen. Now if you see this, the moment I have added sudo su hyphen means I am asking this to change to the user called root, and we can see this. If I'll do ID, then we can see the user as root. So in order to switch any user, we can use the command called su. Switch user is the command, and then we need to pass the username. Okay, guys, understood how to switch to any user?
Yes.
Yes.
Sir, assume means
Switch user. Yes means switch, u means user.
and what about sudo, sir?
Sudo is the extra privilege. I am coming to the sudo only. I haven't explained about sudo yet. Okay. So what is happening is, yes.
Sir, I have a small doubt. By using SU, we can go for any user, right? But the
Yes.
user has some security, right? But we can miss that secureness, right?
See what happened here. So su root and it was asking for the password. So I don't have the password to the root. That's the reason my authentication has been failed. And then what I have used one command called sudo and then su hyphen. So what happened? It didn't ask for the password. It has directly switched to the root user, but not in every machine we can switch to the root user. That is not possible because we are the owners for this virtual box, so we can access. But when we work for any project, right? So we cannot switch to any user. We should have the password. So if we don't have password, then we cannot log in. That's how the security will be provided. Okay, Swati?
Okay, sir. Okay,
Yeah.
sir.
So now what happened here when I was trying to execute apt install git command with the help of the user called Saber, it was throwing me the error, means permission denied. So let me try to execute that permissions. I mean, let me try to execute the same command now with the help of root user. What happened now? It is trying to download that. But whereas for this user called Saber, it didn't work for me. Why? It is working for root user, but it is not working for the user called Saber. Why it is not working?
We need to add a Saber user in Solar's file as a root user.
Okay, we will add Saber user to the sudo's file, but why by default root is accepting? Why other users are
Sir,
not accepting?
sir, you type Y. Y is yes.
Yeah, if I type yes, then it will install this. I don't want to install as of now. So let me use N. I have aborted the operation. Okay, but why this command is acceptable for root user and why that command is not running for Saber user?
Because
What is the
root
difference between these two users?
because root user only have the all access because it is a main user.
because we have changed the owner to the root.
No,
Saber.
that is something related to file. That is not related to your users or your machine. That is only to a specific file. You are not
Because we
trying to
install
access to this file. So always remember that use the super admin. Means root will have the complete access. Root user can do anything. He can delete anything. He can install anything. He can remove any user. He can add, he can remove whatever you want. We can execute with the help of root user. That's the reason we don't get the access for root users. Because, for example, this is my production server and I have got the root access. Now I'm trying to delete something. I have deleted some files which are related to my application. Why that files are getting deleted? Because root user has a complete power. He can do anything. It will not ask for any passwords or any IDs. Okay, so that's the reason it has been executed. But whereas for this user, we can control their access. Which user can execute which command. And here, if you see this, the moment I'm trying to pass sudo, let me exit from the root user. Okay, just check this guys. Okay, let me try to clear this. Okay, just check over here. If I want to come out of this user, what I can do is switch user, and which user you want to move? Saber. Hit enter. Now see, we have moved to the Saber user. It is not at all asking for the password.
So basically, once you get access to the root, you can get access to all of the details.
We can, yes, we can do anything. Okay, so when we join any project, then we will not be getting the root access until and unless we are the owner for this virtual machine. Then only we will be getting the access. Okay, now apt install git, same issue, right? So what I am doing, I am trying to add sudo apt install git and hit enter. It is asking for the password for the user called Saber. So I know the password, so let me pass this 1 2 3 enter. Now it is asking, I mean it is trying to install this. Means this command is working when we are adding sudo. Now what is sudo? This command was not working earlier, but the moment I have added sudo, it is able to execute that command. I don't want to install as of now as well. But why this is working? I mean the moment we have added sudo, it is working. So what is sudo?
Super user do.
Yes, sudo means for user do. Okay, so when we add sudo in front of any command, so what will happen? This command or this user will get some extra privileges which will help us to execute that command. Okay, so when we add sudo, what is happening? This Saber user got some extra privileges, And because of that extra privileges, we are able to configure this. So always make sure that if any command is not running, I mean, if you are trying to install anything and it is throwing error as permission denied, then always make sure to use sudo. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Now I want to switch to root user. So how can we switch to root user? Sudo su -, means root user, it will directly switch, or else we can pass root. Okay. So see, now the username is root. Now what my requirement is to create one user. I want to create one user in the Linux machine. If it is in Windows, what we generally do, we just come here and then we can go to the settings, we can add the user and one user will get created. But whereas in Linux, we have the command called user add, and then the username. So my username is techie. Okay, what is the command to create the user? User add, and username is techie. Hit enter. So what happened? One user has been created. If you want to check, then how can we check? Cat etc password. Here we can see one user has been created called techie, and this is the user ID, group ID, and this is the home path, and this is the shell. I mean, this user has got the shell called sh, and Saber user has got the shell called bash. Okay, so in order to create the user, we can use a command called user add. And now I want to add the password. We have created the user, but we don't have the password. How to add the password or how to generate the password? Arif, how can I create the password?
Yes, double D.
Using password command.
बाजू में नको पूछो आरिफ.
Password.
क्वेश्चन तुम्हारे को है तो तुम बोलो. Guys, remember one thing. I am watching everyone. So by using the command called passwd and then username, to which user you want to add the password. Arif, repeat. What is the? How can we create the password for the user? What is the command?
Password
passwd.
passwd.
Yeah, techie is nothing but the username.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Go on mute. So password techie. Now I want to add the password called techie to the techie user. Sorry, password and username, and hit enter. Now it is asking for the password. The password will be DevOps @123. It is asking for the retype new password. Okay, it is too simplest and systematic. Okay, the password fails the dictionary check, it seems. Okay, DEVOPS @123. Okay, now what happened? Password has been updated successfully. Now I want to switch to the user called techie. Means we have the username as well as we have the password. Now I want to change the user to techie. I want to check them. How to change, Swati? How to switch to the user called techie?
Yes.
How to switch to the user called techie? What is the command? Wasim?
SU root.
SU root is for root user. SU and techie is for techie user. Okay. Switch user, then space, and then username. Hit enter. So what happened now? Currently I'm into the user called techie. If I'll do ID, you can see. Let's go on mute. Okay, but if you'll see this here, the interface is completely different. See, earlier it was something good. Now we can see as only dollar. I mean, we are not able to see anything. Let me switch back to the root user only. Exit. So I'm into the root user. Cat etc password. Why the interface is different? Because of this shell. Here we are using /bin/sh, and here we are using /bin/bash. Now understood what is happening when the shells are different. The interface is also getting changed. Okay, switch user to techie. This interface is nothing but $0 we can see as shell message. Okay, so now I will try to install the same command apt install git. Now what happened again? Permission denied. Why? Because this user, I mean, we can add sudo, then it will get some extra privileges. So let me try to add sudo apt install git. Now it is asking for the password. So let me enter the password DEVOPS@123. See now what happened? I have entered the correct password, but still I am unable to execute this command. Earlier what I have said, the moment we add sudo, then this particular user will get some extra privileges. But when I have added sudo to this command for the user called techie, still it is not executing. Why it is not executing? Guys, getting my point? If you want to add sudo in front of any command, then we have certain process what we need to follow. Means just simply adding sudo will not work for every user. That user should be available in the file called sudo's file. Then only that sudo will also work, or else that will not work. That is how we are securing or segregating access for different users. So Sabir user, he was unable to install, but the moment we have added sudo, it was able to install. Why? Because that user is already available in the sudo's file. There is one file called sudo's. So when I have tried to execute the same command by adding sudo for the user called techie, it is not working, and it is reporting to add
Sir,
into the sudo's file.
sudo is necessary apt install git.
Yeah, sudo is necessary. So I have passed sudo here, but still it is not working. Here we can see the error.
So
what
whenever
happened?
I install whenever I want to install apt git, so I just type sudo, sir.
Yeah, we should type sudo. If it is not working, then we should type sudo. Basically, that depends upon the access. If you have the full access, then no need to use sudo. If you don't have the access, then you should use sudo. If you are executing from root user, then no need to use sudo at all. Root user, by default, it will have the complete access.
So is
Okay,
there
sir.
any way to know that which is from the sudo's file, or how can we
Yes.
allot it to the sudo?
Yeah, so what we can do is, let me just exit from this user, because this user don't have any access, so I will not be able to perform. So I will use root user only. So now in which user I am currently into the root user. So we have one file called sudo's. So how to check that file? For example, we know that there is one file, but we are not aware of the location. So how to check, or how to search for that file? So in Windows, what generally we do, we have the search option. What I will do, I will put this as sudo's, and we can see any files with the name called sudo's. But whereas in Linux, we have one file called find command. Find /name, and what is the name? SODOERS. So what this command will do, this command will try to find the file with the name called sudo's in our virtual machine, and hit enter. Now we can see all the paths which are related to sudo's. See, this command is trying to search for the file called sudo's. Okay, so we have got these many locations where this file is available. Now out of this location, so this is what I was looking for, means /etc/sudo's. In this file we can make the changes. So first let me check what is the details available. I mean, what are the different details which are available in this file, and then we can try to edit. Okay, /etc/sudo's, and then we can see this is the content of this file. Guys, remember one thing, hash will always represents as comment, means there is no impact of hash. Hash will always represents comment. This is only for the user to understand. Okay, and then here if you can see, here we have something called sudo's. Here we can add, see, root user, all privileges. Members of the admin group may gain root privileges. Means if you want to add any member, then you can add to the group called admin. Allow members of group sudo to execute any command, means this part. So this is where I need to add the user called techie. Okay, so now how to add or how to edit? Vi etc sudos, hit enter, and then we should check for the path related to sudo. So this is the place. So what I will do, all this is not working in what happened. Behaving very odd. All, and then we should add the same one. Generally what is happening is in this virtual box backspace is not working, so that's the reason I'm facing issue. So let me do one thing. And the moment I'm trying to press up arrow, it is trying to print some x, y, a, b, c, d. E, E, C, H, I, E, L, L, all. Yeah. E, C, H, I, E, L, L, all. Let me try to copy this. Guys, one second, let me fix this first. Sure. It is taking long time, very long time for me to just add the user because of these keywords. Let me do one thing. Okay. Let me try to copy this.
For short, sir, to
Yes.
delete the shortcut is host button. Control Alt Delete.
To delete what?
Control
Wait.
Alt Delete.
Wait. Let me just try to add this first. If not, then we can go with your idea. Okay, now this is done. Okay, so what we have did, we have added the user called techie into the group called sudo. So let me save this file and execute. Now what we can do, we have added this file to the sudo, I mean the username to the sudo file, to the sudo group. So what will happen, user techie will be able to get the privileges for the sudo command. Means we can use sudo apt install git. It is asking for password, DevOps, etc. 123 is the password. Now see, this is able to again execute the command. Now understood. So root user will have the full permissions, means they can access anyone. He can execute any command. And if you want to add some extra privileges to some other user, then we can use sudo. But before that, sudo should be available in the sudo's file. I mean that user should be available in the sudo file. Then only we can execute this. Okay. Now I want to switch to the user called Saber. Sudo switch user Saber. Now see, directly switch to the user called Saber. That's clear. How to create user, how to provide sudo access, how can we add extra privileges.
Yes.
So in general, what we should do is, I mean, we can try to watch the video again, try to execute. Once after execution, then you will understand, I mean, you will get more idea on what is happening. Okay, and then what we have, we have input redirections and output redirections. Okay, so input and output redirection. So what is the use of redirections? For example, if you want to create one file and add any content, so what command we can use? You want to create one file and add some content. So what was the command we were using earlier? Touch is to just create the 0 byte size. My
Yes,
requirement.
VI word.
VI.
World is not the command, guys. VI is the command. World is the file name. Okay. VI is the command and world is the file name. Okay, so what we can do? We can use either VI or else I can use touch. These are the two different ways out of what we can create the file. Then we have one more thing called redirections. Single redirection and double redirection. So this is called single redirection and this is called double redirection. So for example, here we have one more command called echo. So first let us discuss about echo. Echo means what? In general world or in general English, what do we mean by echo?
Any kind of sound.
Yeah, so here if you see this, echo hello world, and if I'm trying to execute, what is the output? Hello world means whatever I am trying to paste as the input, pass as the input or paste as the input, then we can see the same output. Echo means again we can hear the same one, right? Same sound. So here also echo command will help us to send out the same output. But what is the use of echo? When can we use echo? For example, we are working on any automation task. Then we can use echo to user information, means to inform the user what is happening. While performing automation activity, we can use echo command to display some message, user information or user messages, so that the end user will understand, okay, so this is what happening, this is what happening. Okay, so now echo will display the same command, I mean the same output, right? So for example, echo hello world, and I want to save this output into a particular file. I want to save this output into a particular file. Any file, it can be either text file or any extension. So we can use redirection, single redirection, and then file name called test. Do we have any file name called test already created? No, right? So if I do ls, so control C, basically if you want to exit or quit anything, then we can use control C, then it will quit that. Okay, so by the help of ls, are we able to see any file with the name called test? So is there any file available? No, right? So echo hello world and single redirection test and hit enter. Now what happened? If I do ls, here we can see one file with the name called test has been created, and if we do cat and read the content, we can see hello world is the input of this file or the content of this file. So what is happening with the help of redirection? We can store the output of the command. Understood? With the help of redirections, we can store the output of the command into any file. Now what I will do? I will try to execute one more command with echo. Echo, this time instead of hello world, I will change the input.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, Nagaraj.
It's Nagaraj.
Sir, file create చేయకోకుండానే automatically file create అయిపోతుంది.
అయిపోతుంది, yes. If the file is not available, then it will create. If it is available, then it will use. So, see now, here the file was not available.
Yes.
So it has created. Now I am trying to execute one more command, and this time I am trying to use the existing file. So what will happen? So let us see. Okay, echo and the input is techie horizon, and I am redirecting this to a file called test. So let me hit enter. Again the output, I mean this has been executed successfully. Now if I try to read the content, test, see techie horizon. Earlier it was hello world, this time techie horizon, but this is not what I was expecting. I was expecting there should be two lines, means hello world should be available, techie horizon should also be available. So how to fix this?
We can use double redirection.
Yes. So what will happen is, if you use single redirection, then this single redirection will delete or override the existing content. If you want to save multiple contents or multiple outputs, then we can use double redirection. So this will be the command. Say hello world and double redirection and the file name called test and hit enter. Now if I do cat test, we can see techie horizon as well as hello world. So what happened? Now this has appended one more line. Earlier what happened? This has overridden the existing data. So we have input and output redirections. So we have single redirection and double redirection. Single redirection will help us to override the existing data. Double redirection will help us to append the new data or add the new line. So redirections can be used to store any data. Why? But what is the use of storing any output?
We want any multiple outputs, so we can.
So there might be a situation where we can see one output with 100 lines. Then you cannot read the 100 lines on the same point of time, or some team will ask you to share the output of this. In this case, what you can do? We can use redirections to store this output into some other file and copy and paste. Okay, so there might be plenty of use cases where you will be storing the output. In that case, always use redirections. Guys, clear?
Yes, sir, clear.
Others? Yes. Yes. And then what we have, for example, let me just try to create one more file called alphabet. So how to create vi alphabet? Hit enter. So I'm trying to add some content in this file called alphabet, that is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. So what I have did, I have added up to A to L inside one file called alphabet. Okay, let me save this file. Now if I try to read the content, cat alphabet, then we can see A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, right? So now assume that this file alphabet has 1000 lines. As of now, we have how many lines? How to check how many lines are there? What count? WC command we can use. So we can see that there are 12 lines available in this particular file. For example, assume that there are 1000 lines and you just want to read
Sir,
the
alphabet is a command.
no alphabet is the file name, guys.
Oh,
VI is the command and this is the file name. Okay, so cat is the command and test is the file name. Okay, do not get confused with the file names.
okay, sir.
Okay, so now here in alphabet we have 12 lines, so it is very easy for us to read which alphabet is and on which particular line. But for example, assume that there are 1000 lines. Now my requirement is I don't want to read the complete content. I just want to read the top 3 lines. I want to read the top 3 lines from this file called alphabet. Then how can we do that? With the help of command called head. Head -3 represents 3 line and then file name alphabet. Hit enter. See ABC. So this is how we can use head command to check the top 3 lines of your file. Similarly, if you want to see the bottom 3 lines or bottom 4 lines, for example 4 lines, then we can use tail -4 alphabet. Hit enter. Then we can see AKGL. So with the help of head and tail command, what we can do? We can use head command to check the top 3 or 4 lines. I mean, based upon the requirement, we can pass the parameter and read the output. I mean, only that particular lines.
Sir, in case of means to watch the middle things,
Middle
middle
things,
lines.
we have a lot of parameters in this again. If suppose you want to see in between 5th line or 6th line, then we don't have a specific command for that. But what we can do is we can use these parameters only. I mean head, and then we can add parameters. So let me also check that. We have ChatGPT, right? So how to check the middle 3 lines of a file in Linux. See, we have these many parameters. So let me try to copy this. This will not work. I mean, we cannot copy from our local machine to our virtual machine. So we have this parameter out of what we can use and we can try to check. Okay. So this is very impossible for us to remember this command, but we can know, I mean, there will be some idea. Okay. So this is what we can pass. Yes. Guys, someone were asking something. Okay. Shall I move ahead with the other command? So, and then we have one more command called tail-f and then file name. Here, if you observe this tail-3 and then file name, here we can see our cursor is back with us, means I can perform any other command. But if I'm executing tail-f alphabet, see what is happening, the cursor got stuck. What does this mean? Why the cursor is getting stuck? Tail-f, what do you mean by f1f? Tail command, we know that is to check the bottom 3 lines or 4 lines. For example, if you want to continuously monitor a particular file, in this case we can use a parameter called -f. So now what is happening? Just see this. Okay, let me open one more terminal. This is stuck over here only, right? Let me open one more terminal. So here we have 2 terminals. Okay. So here we have 2 terminals. One terminal, what it is doing, it is trying to see the output. I mean, it is continuously monitoring my file. So which file? File called alphabet. So now what I will do, I will add one more line to my file called Z, double redirection, and then alphabet. Hit enter. Now see what happened. Z, it is printed. Now if I'm trying to add ABC, hit enter. See, ABC is getting printed. Means what is happening? It is continuously monitoring this particular file. Tail-f command will be used to continuously monitor our particular file. And when can we use this? This is used for monitoring purposes. Means you are tracking one log file for the issue. Some users are complaining that they are unable to see some logs on the server, or the server is behaving very odd. In this case, what you will do, you will try to see the logs of that machine. In that case, we can use tail-f command. Now, if you want to exit out of this, what we can do, Control C, exit. Okay. So this is how we can use head and tail commands, guys. And then we have one more very important command. So what we have seen, aware of the file location, then we can use find command to search for that file. Now I want to search for the file. I mean, even I am not aware of the file name. I don't know the file name as well. I'm not aware of the file name as well as I'm not aware of the location. In that case, what we can do? We can use find command / space -m and then start.txt, means any file with the extension called txt. I just know that my file name, I mean my file is the extension of .txt. So star will always represents all. In Linux, star represents all, means all the files with the extension called txt. I want to search for that files, and if I'll hit enter, now we can see. Okay, permission denied because these are something related to root files, and currently we are into which user? Saber user, right? So let me use sudo find /name start.txt. Hit enter. With the help of sudo, what will happen? We get some extra privileges. Now it is working. See, here we have got all the files with the extension called txt from this system or from this machine. So this is how we can use. There are a lot of parameters. For example, you have one more parameter. If you'll open the sheets, right? If you'll open the sheet, we have one more parameter to check the file which is older than 30 days. Find /name and then file name, for example, sudo's -m time plus 30, means same command we are passing different arguments. These are nothing but the arguments or parameters. The moment we add extra parameters, what will happen? It will try to refine our output as per our expectations. If I'll just execute find /name sudo's, what it will do? It will try to search for the file called sudo's. If I'm passing the parameter called -m time plus 30, then it is trying to check for the file called sudo's which is older than 30 days. That's how we are refining our existing output. Again, permission denied because there is no sudo. Let me add sudo. See, these files are older than 30 days, it seems. So this is how we can track our files. Now, what we have seen find command to search for a files or any directory, any file which is older than 30 days, which is newer than 5 days, right? Guys, 1 second, guys. Okay, so what we have did, we were using the command called find. Now, I know that we have one file called alphabet, and this alphabet file also have some content. So now I want to search for a specific keyword from this content. Means I want to search whether Z is available or not in this alphabet file. So in order to do that, what we can do, we have the command called grep and then the keyword, which keyword you want to check, for example Z, and from which file you want to check alphabet, hit enter. So it is throwing the output as Z because Z is available. If suppose I'm trying to use Y, because Y is not available, what will happen? It will throw as a empty output, means Y is not available. So grep command will help us to search for the specific keywords from the specific files. Okay, for example, we know that Z is available, right? So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to use Z, capital Z. Capital Z is not available, but capital Z and small z both are same. I mean, there is no difference. If I hit enter, it is not showing the output. So my requirement is whether it is small or capital. I want to see whether Z is available or not. In this case, what I can do, I can use grep -i. -i will help us with the parameter called irrecursively. Whether it is capital or small, I want the output. Hit enter. See, now we can see a Z. So this is how we can search for the keywords from the files. Find command is used to search for the files or directories from the specific path or from the system. Grep is used only to search for the keywords. In grep we have lot of parameters. Again, in that sheet you can see them. Okay. Hope this was clear.
Yes, clear.
Others, I'm waiting for the response.
Yes, clear.
Yes, sir.
Is this easy? Easy or tough?
Little
Easy,
complicated.
but little more comments.
Sudos,
Yeah, so-
but implementing sudos.
So this you will understand with the help of practice only. Okay, so that's the reason we have allotted lot of practice time for these commands. Usually I used to complete Linux within 2 days, but from now we are making this for 3 sessions. Okay, so I think we have covered lot of commands for today. I have shared this documentation, so please try to refer this documentation. Okay, and try to create groups as well. So always guys remember something. Okay, so remember one thing, that always try to explore on yourself. Always try to explore, try to provide some wrong information to the machine and see what is happening. Then only you can understand the behavior. Do not just execute mkdir because we know that the command is available. So try to execute mdir or try to execute dir. What will happen? There is one command called dir as well. Okay, so try to explore on your own as well. Self-learning is also very important. Do not try to hurry up and log off and go to home. Okay. And apart from this, we have more commands, and these are very important: df, du, and then we have top, kill, ps, -ef. So that commands we'll try to cover up in tomorrow's session, and that will be our final day for Linux commands. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Let me record off this. Stop this recording.